One of the most interesting moments in the 2008 campaign occurred when a man, like Obama himself, came from out of nowhere to recount his experiences with Barack Obama, the man. His name was Larry Sinclair, and he told an amazing story. He said that in 1999, he had encountered Barack Obama in Illinois, had sex with Barack Obama, and then used coke with him. Sinclair went on to make these claims publicly at the National Press Club in Washington, to sign a sworn affidavit and to take a lie detector test. But he was dismissed. In fact, he was attacked. Obama shills like Ben Smith at Politico batted the claims out without refuting them. They're absurd. And the rest of the media followed suit.
What if I told you Tucker Carlson wasn't just shocked? He was visibly rocked on national TV. And no, it wasn't a glitch or a stage mishap. It was a guest, dropping explosive claims about Obama that felt straight out of a covert thriller. The mood shifted instantly. Shock, tension, silence that screamed, this wasn't your average segment. It was the kind of interview that shakes headlines and ignites firestorms online. Viewers were stunned.
Pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. I had given Barack $250 to pay for coke. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort, and next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going, and it went the direction I had intended it to go.
Tucker Carlson, a name that usually commands the chaos, was just brought to a standstill. He's built his brand fearlessly, the guy who tackles what mainstream media won't dare whisper. He's thrived in controversy, diving headfirst into political firestorms, dragging hidden truths into the spotlight. But this time, even he wasn't ready, because what hit him wasn't just news. It was a detonation.
But the claims weren't absurd. We're not claiming they're true, but they were certainly credible. This was a first-hand account of Barack Obama's behavior by someone who was willing to sign a sworn affidavit to that effect. So the question is, whatever happened to Larry Sinclair? What's his life been like since? That's an interesting story. It turns out Larry Sinclair is still alive. He lives in Mexico. But
that day, something unthinkable happened. Not staged outrage, not political theater. This time, it was real, and it hit hard. Tucker Carlson, the man built for pressure, was visibly shaken. No witty comebacks, no cool composure, just shock. Raw and unfiltered. And the trigger? Not just another headline. It was Barack Obama and a revelation that rattled millions.
Devin announcing that Barack Obama had an AIDS test.
I know Barack got tested for AIDS.
Oh, it's the funniest video ever. Biden said, well, I think, AIDS is a real problem in the African-American community.
And the community's engaged in denial.
I think we should all get AIDS tests. Barack Obama had an AIDS test.
I know Barack got tested for AIDS.
There's a cutaway of Obama being like, I hate you.
It's an important thing.
Obama has always stood at the crossroads of worship and whispers. A presidency praised as iconic, a public image seemingly untouchable, at least by scandals that ever left a mark. But then came this night on Carlson's show, where everything changed. A guest appeared, and what they said didn't just raise eyebrows. It rattled the walls of Obama's legacy. This wasn't spin. This wasn't politics as usual. This felt real. And if it's true...
A normal life, your marriage is the core of everything. A happy marriage produces happy people and happy children. And I just don't think she spent a lot of time on that. I mean, she really dislikes her husband. Super obvious. I'm not just saying that to be catty. I think I'm trying to feel compassion for her, but her hostility toward the guy is like unbelievable. And it's been
everything she says is negative.
About him,
how
for sure,
long have we known each other?
2007.
I can't even think of one negative comment you've ever made about Susie. I almost never say negative things about.
Yes, Tucker had poked into Obama's past before. But what aired in this segment? It wasn't just bold, it was nuclear. Forget recycled conspiracies and tired debates. This was concrete. Verified interactions, hidden transactions, pulled straight from the shadows. Not guesses, not what ifs. This was the type of truth people aren't supposed to hear, and it didn't just slip out. It was launched, precisely timed, a truth missile kept in silence, waiting for the perfect strike. Tucker's show became ground zero. The guest, at first glance, another policy nerd. But what he dropped? Anything but standard. He didn't speak. Like a theorist. He spoke like someone who'd been inside the vault, and with each line, the walls cracked. Private deals, off-record meetings, high-level players, named, every word, loaded, dangerous, and impossible to unhear. This wasn't your average interview. It was an expose unfolding in real time, and the audience, glued. Social media, on fire. What began as discussion spiraled into detonation. The tension in the room, palpable. The silence between moments, louder than the words themselves. It didn't feel like journalism. It felt like history breaking open. And now, people are asking, how much of Obama's legacy was real?
Barack Obama.
It was by accident. I was in the Chicago area in '99 for Lee Duke's graduation from the Naval Academy.
You're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party, actually.
Yeah.
That's what you really said.
Yeah. Well, I was in town for a few nights, but yeah, I was definitely looking to party. And
Did you make that clear to the driver?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, there was no misunderstanding.
How direct were you about it?
Extremely.
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 Okay.
Yeah, there was no doubt what I was looking for.
Okay.
And he picked me up at my hotel in Gurnee and drove into Chicago.
Suddenly, viewers weren't just watching. They were witnessing a reckoning, unfolding live, and the stakes were higher than anything we've seen before. Let's break it down. The finances. Obama's calm, post-presidency image. The one we all know. It may have been carefully orchestrated. Behind the polished persona, there were rumors, secret international investments, and shady tech deals. This wasn't about legacy anymore. This was about control. Then, the Affordable Care Act, the symbol of his domestic legacy, was turned upside down. What if it wasn't just about saving lives? What if it was also about securing alliances, financial and political leverage, shifting the balance of power, and the real jaw-dropper? Foreign diplomacy. While Obama charmed the world stage, smiling at world leaders, a different story emerged. Behind those polished speeches and photo ops, there was a web of shadowy deals, unconventional alliances, and hidden tactics that were kept under wraps. No one saw it coming. The truth was lurking in the dark, away from the public eye, away from the spotlight. So now the question remains.
Call themselves public servants, which of course is ridiculous, they're not, but still, they don't even have to pretend to keep up a facade of that. Like,
Exactly.
You get to live in this insane, mansion because you were president and you get to cash in on that now?
In a white neighborhood, you should
Yeah,
be
right.
required to live in the
Well,
hood if you're Barack Obama and
If you're using that card,
you
yeah.
use that card.
Yeah.
The only reason you got elected was because of your race. You spent your entire 8 years inflaming race hate in our country, and then you go to Martha's Vineyard, the whitest zip code in the world. Not allowed.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to.
This wasn't diplomacy as we know it. This wasn't the polite exchanges and hopeful smiles we've come to expect. No, this was high-stakes chess with the world's most notorious regimes. Players known for their secrecy, not their transparency. To the public, it was all handshakes and flags waving in harmony. But behind closed doors, a different story entirely. In private, promises weren't just exchanged, they were bargained for. Deals were made in the shadows, away from prying eyes, where the truth was manipulated to fit a narrative. What we saw was just a performance, a velvet-clad mask, hiding a cold, hard core of calculated pragmatism. But then came the bombshell. The guest didn't stop at just political maneuvering. There was something far deeper at play. Inside the innermost circle, the narrative was tightly controlled, information selectively released to maintain the image. Obama's charm? It was undeniable. His words could move mountains. His presence was electrifying. But beneath that meticulously crafted image, there was something else. A reality where truth wasn't always transparent, and appearances were designed with a purpose far greater than we ever imagined.
He's odd. There's no question about it. He's odd. I think what he does is very important for the most part. Like some of the stuff is like when he found the dude who blew Obama. Like, yo, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Even if he did, who cares? I kind of want to know. But who cares? I'm kind of happy he did it.
That's big news.
But is it shocking?
There's one thing that's always been clear about Obama. He's a master of persuasion. His presidency wasn't just about policies, it was about shaping perceptions. But what if everything we thought we knew was built on lies? This wasn't just about political talking points. No, This was about deliberate misdirection, omissions, and a calculated effort to control the narrative. A game that went far beyond typical political moves. Tucker, to his credit, didn't shy away. He let the guest speak, and what followed shocked everyone. You could feel the tension, like the air itself was about to crack. This wasn't about scoring cheap points. No, it was about letting the truth unfold, piece by piece until it was undeniable. The weight of the revelations was too heavy to ignore. As the conversation unraveled, Tucker sat back, taking it all in. The look on his face said it all. He wasn't just hearing facts. He was watching a lifetime of assumptions shattered in real time. Years of carefully crafted images were crumbling right in front of him. And he knew it. He was sitting on a story bigger than anyone could have imagined. Tucker did what he does best. He pressed, he questioned, but not because he didn't believe the guest. He knew something extraordinary was unfolding. This wasn't about sensationalism. It was about digging until the truth was all that was left. And what came out of this interview? The truth, plain and simple. The guest wasn't shaken. No, he was unwavering. Every word, every detail peeled back another layer. This wasn't just an interview. It was a bombshell dossier. And then the reality set in. How many people knew? How many looked the other way? How many had been complicit in building Obama's pristine image when the foundation was far darker than anyone had imagined?
My dad in the house. And I was angry about it, even though I didn't necessarily realize it at the time. I made bad choices. I got high without always thinking about the harm.
After the episode aired, the internet went into overdrive. Fans, critics, and pundits exploded with theories, arguments, and deep dives into the shocking revelations. The online world, ever hungry for scandal, couldn't get enough. Left-leaning. Voices scrambled to defend, trying to discredit the guest and attack the timing. They accused the show of staging a calculated attack. But on the right, they were leaning in, celebrating this as long overdue vindication, a moment they'd been waiting for. Social media became a battlefield, each tweet, post, and meme firing, back like a weapon in a war for truth. Or spin. At the center of it all was the broadcast, immortalized in clip after clip, headline after headline. Tucker Carlson's show became the stage for one of the most pivotal moments in American political discourse. Whether you agreed with the guest or not, the impact was undeniable. The conversation had changed forever. Obama, once untouchable, now faced questions that wouldn't vanish with a few eloquent speeches or a well-timed book tour. His legacy, once admired, now had dark shadows to confront, hidden truths that were finally being exposed. And as for Tucker, he didn't bask in the spotlight. He didn't smirk or revel in applause. No, he chose a different path. His silence, his restraint, was more powerful than any monologue could ever be. In a world oversaturated with dramatic headlines and sensational outrage, this moment cut through the noise like a scalpel. It wasn't just another viral clip, it was real journalism, raw and unapologetic, unearthing truths that could change everything. This wasn't a fleeting ego boost for Tucker, nor was it a quick headline grab. No, this was a defining moment, a shift in the media landscape. Instead of telling the audience what to think, Tucker laid out the breadcrumbs. And the public? They followed, engaged, and began to reevaluate everything. Outlets scrambled to spin, dismiss, and deny the revelations. Analysts fumbled over their words, desperate to reframe the narrative. But amidst the chaos, one truth stood strong. The ripple effect had begun. Viewers weren't passive anymore. They were engaged, questioning, and rethinking long-held assumptions. Was Obama just another polished product of a carefully crafted political machine? A mirage of hope masking the same old games? Or was this simply another chapter in the endless partisan war? The control of the narrative was slipping, and it was no longer in the hands of the elite. It was with the people. And this wasn't just about mockery or shock value. This was raw, real, and unsettling. The kind of moment that doesn't just trend for a few hours and disappear. It lingers, evolves, and forces uncomfortable conversations into the mainstream. Some institutions may feel compelled to take a closer look now, because ignoring this may be harder than they think. The implications were explosive, radioactive even. And as for Tucker, he's not sitting idle. You can bet he's already deep in the trenches, connecting dots the rest of us haven't even noticed. Could more revelations surface? Almost certainly. And could they be even more disruptive? Absolutely. But one thing's for sure, Tucker Carlson won't let this fade quietly into the background. He's locked in, and when he digs deeper. Obama's once immaculate image has cracks. In Washington, perception is everything. This isn't just a small bruise to his legacy, it's a puncture in the myth that once surrounded him. But the true test is yet to come. Will this be the turning point that reshapes how voters view him, or will it just dissolve into the sea of forgotten scandals? That's the million-dollar question. One thing's certain, though. This slow-motion unraveling is just getting started, and it's clear. Carlson's not the one blinking in disbelief anymore. The shock has shifted. Now, it's time to see where this all leads. The question is, who's really in control of the narrative now? Oh, minis.